I want to introduce myself. I'm Jessie Herbert. I work with the University of Montana, the program called We Are Montana in the Classroom. We're really excited to host the Celebrating Native Scholars, Researchers, and Change Makers. And this session is all about business. And I want to introduce Crystal Whiteshield here with me. And then on the screen, you also see Casey Lozar. Hi, Casey. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, everyone.
And I'm going to turn it over to Crystal. Thank you all, Browning and Boxelder, for being here today.
So good morning, everybody. I'm Crystal Whiteshield. I'm currently a student here at the University of Montana.
So just go down, click down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me get on the side here. There we go. This is my mission statement. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with this presentation, basically because there's not very many business students here at the University of Montana, but it would be awesome if you guys are interested in business. My mission statement for you is that I want to lead Native students in their goals and ambitions to become a future leader in business. So, oh, my pictures didn't come out. Dang it, I knew that wasn't happening. So, I just wanted to give a little background on myself. I do some volunteer work here in the Missoula community at the Lewis and Clark Elementary School. And it's a program called EAST. It's an after-school program for between first grade and fifth grade here. And I only do volunteer work at the Lewis and Clark Elementary School. And what I do is a coding class, and I'll go into that more a little bit later. I'm a competitive dancer. I'm a jingle dress dancer, and that picture didn't get to show up on there, but it's okay. Currently, I'm a Native American grad assistant for the School of Business. I'm the only Native American grad assistant there in the School of Business. So I work in the American Indian Business Leaders National Office, and we just got through with our conference, and I'll go into that a little bit more here in just a second. And then I'm a non-traditional student. Basically, that means that I'm a student that already has a family. I have to do basically, a lot of people gave me the title as super mom. Like, I work and I go to school and I take care of a family at the same time. So here are some milestones. This is my pathway to where I'm at right now. I graduated high school in 1996 from Winter Rock High School. I was already a parent by the time I graduated, so I was hoping that I could speak to students who are already parents there in high school. If you're not, that's cool too. But you know, you can do it. You can finish high school and go on to the university and complete your degree. In 2007, I graduated from Blackfeet Community College with the associate degree in pre-nursing. I went into that for a little while, but I realized that that wasn't something that I wanted to do. And sometimes you'll realize that something that you really had your heart set on, something that you thought you wanted to do, it doesn't turn out that was something that was for you. So in September 2009, that's when I started working for the Browning Public Schools, and I worked as a sub. I started out as a sub, and then I got hired at the administration office and the business office, and then I started coaching there too. I was a cross-country coach and a track coach for the middle school, and that's how I know Tamara there from the Browning schools. In 2012, that's when I graduated again from Blackfeet Community College with my associate degree in business management. From there, I wanted to further my degree, so that's when I didn't change that. That's when I moved to Missoula. That's what should have said. I moved to Missoula in May 2013, and I started into the MIS program, and I'll be graduating next month. And I've already started my master's program, Master's of Business Administration, and I'll be graduating, or expected to graduate in December of next year. So that didn't come out either.
Come on the screen. Come on, we want to
So
see
there
you.
we go.
There you are.
Okay, so I just got back from the ABLE conference. I know Box Elder was there, but I would like to encourage the Blackfeet Browning High School, and also if Will Point was here, if they were here, you know, to start your own chapter. And if you need help, that's where I work, is in the national office, and I can help you start a chapter if you wanted to. It's a great opportunity for you guys to further your interest into business. These are pictures that just happened. This is from the University of Montana, the UM chapter of ABLE. They competed in the business plan competition, and then also for chapter of the year at the university level. The UM chapter won chapter of the year, and then they also got third place in the business plan competition. And in this picture here, this is the UM chapter, and then also the chapter from Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. So there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of networking that happens at this conference. You get to speak with a lot of different students from universities and from high schools, and it's very influential. And I really encourage you guys to start your own chapters and get involved within your community. And you can see different things and how your business idea can help your own community.
So I'm curious if teachers, so I know we also have Box Elder. We just can't see them.
Yeah.
But if they're interested, could they contact the We Are Montana in the Classroom organizers, and then they would put you in touch with you? Okay, perfect.
So, okay, let's go to the next one. So the UM School of Business, what programs are offered there at the School of Business? Well, you have business management, you have finance, you have accounting, you have accounting information systems, and then you also have management information systems, is which the major that I chose. So if you're interested in furthering your education into business, you have to ask yourself, what will your major be? Like what interests do you have in business, and what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? That will kind of give you an idea of what you want to major in if you do go into business. I chose information systems because I had my business management degree, my associate degree, but I wanted to do something more because when I was working for Browning, I was a systems administrator for the computer programs there. And I had a little interest in the technology field too. So that's what MIS basically is you're doing business management and also information technology. You're speaking both languages and you're able to communicate between the two languages. But I'll go into more detail about that later.
I'm wondering if we could see if students in Browning and then Box Elder, if you want to write to me via the chat function, what are some of your interests right now? Have you thought about those interests? Oh, hold on. Sorry, I muted. Go ahead. Sorry.
Browning, we're using VisionNet, so we're not using the chat function right now.
Yep. So you just have to speak.
Yeah. But you can just answer a question.
I want to be an architectural engineer.
Okay, engineering, you'll cover some of the stuff that you go in MIS in engineering, primarily the coding portion. I mean, if you decide you wanted to go into engineering, you do have to learn a little bit of code. So that's awesome.
I'm thinking kind of like medical era, or something to do with people more.
So medical.
Okay.
I'm like stuck between the medical field and then being a lawyer, like one of the two.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
In mine, I'm just interested in medical.
Can you repeat that a little bit louder?
Oh, I'm interested in medical.
Oh, medical.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I to be a video game and interactive media designer.
That's fantastic. And then Box Elder also, like I said, Box Elder, if you guys want to write anything to me, I can then relay that to our presenters.
Okay.
So great.
Okay, so I'll move, I'll press on. So technology and business. Why is technology important in business? Well, you need to have efficiency in your business processes, and you also need to be able to sustain that process throughout the years. You know, the software and business applications, they're constantly changing. I mean, you see the commercials where they actually joke around about, oh, I got the Galaxy 5. Well, I got the Galaxy 6. You know, those types of things, you know, it's constantly changing. So basically what we want to, I want to touch bases on is like the technology that are in tribes right now, they're kind of behind. They're behind in times. And that's kind of a mission that I have for myself, is to bring our tribe's government, our tribal governments up to par. So you can generate revenue to bring in money to your tribes and to your people within your tribes, and help your programs and all the different things that you could provide opportunities for your tribe. And then also to the consumer, which is basically you guys. You know, you guys are the consumer. You guys buy within your communities. Like you go to a restaurant or you go to a store or something there within your reservations, you know, that you're the consumer. How would you make your experience at your store or at your restaurant better than what it is now? I mean, you can integrate technology into that. It's like you could have iPads to order order your food from, or you could have like a grocery store list, and you know they'll be able to deliver it to you or something like that. You know, that's a business proposition right there. So you know, there's different types of things. And then also you want the appearance of professionalism is really important. You know, you have to be able to present yourself as a business person for them to take you seriously.
I'm going to pause really quickly because we heard from Box Elder, and they have students that are interested in the health field, the dental field, and also mechanical field. So
awesome.
a nice wide range there too in Box Elder. Thank you, Box Elder.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a little portion of what I want to share with you guys about coding, and that's basically what I do in information systems. We had to learn how to code. Oops, how do I go back?
Oh, here.
Yikes. So, oops, other way. So what I do at the Lewis and Clark Elementary, I teach Hour of Code, and it's a free program online through code.org, but I just want to share this video with you really quick. So how do I share this?
Oh no. I think we'll be okay. It's okay, Microsoft Office. Don't worry. Let me get some sound in there for you. Is this where it's supposed to be headed?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right. So I have 2 videos.
Perfect. That's okay.
All right.
Okay, now you're going to press run. This is so cool!
Hour of Code.
The Hour of Code. Todos lo pueden hacer. Ya programme code.
Your teacher says you guys are into it.
We are. It's very awesome.
Code.org has partnered with 30 public school districts across the country, including New York, Chicago, and Denver, to provide lessons in teacher training and writing.
The largest education events in history.
Organizers set what they called an ambitious goal of reaching 10 million students this week. Almost 15 million signed up.
This week, I'm proud to join the students, teachers, businesses, and nonprofit organizations taking new steps to support computer science in America's schools.
I ran an Hour of Code. It was easy to do.
I got it. They've been so excited about it.
Oh my gosh, it's working. I did it right. They don't even have to be a computer science engineer. Maybe they want to do something else. But in our world, this is going to be the basis for everything that we do.
Move. Semicolon.
When you're building a program, you have to think outside of the box.
If you can change technology, you can change the world.
I challenge girls in every single country to learn 1 hour of code.
Every district should do, every district can do it.
Please help us get the hour of code to every school and every classroom and every child.
And my school's doing it.
Okay, so with that,
here we go.
So this is what I teach, and I'm a lead instructor for the 4th and 5th grade students at the Lewis and Clark Elementary, and I also teach to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders. And our school is the first school to actually provide this program to students. We're trying to get it district-wide within Missoula, and hopefully this initiative will go through for 2016 and 2017, so that's really awesome. So what is code? Code is basically computer programming, a language of script that you have to write from. You don't have to build it from scratch. There's a lot of open source coding that's available online, but basically that's how you build a website. That's how you build your mobile device applications, like your games that are on your cell phones, or that's how they build those things, and that's how people build online businesses. So why should you learn code? Well, for some of you that are interested in health, you know, there's health administration, and they do give you reports that are in XML script. And it's a lot of computer programming scripts that you have to look over and analyze. And you will have to encounter this at some point within your profession. So it would be awesome if you were able to learn a little bit of it. And that's why when you go into your careers, you'll look at it and say, oh yeah, you know, I went over this before. So code is important for business because of that very fact, is that a lot of different files that you have to import and export out of different business processes, it's actually put into code files. And that's what I've learned so far within the MIS program. I've had to learn Python language, Microsoft Visual Basic, C++, and I still want to learn how to write in JavaScript and C#. So here's another, one more video.
Wonderful.
Kind of going over that. Hopefully that'll kind of spark your guys' interest to want to do this. I mean, it's not very hard. It's very simple lessons, but we'll just go with this video.
I think 19th century was about the Industrial Revolution, about electricity, about disrupting the agricultural society and making it more advanced. The 20th century was about physics and engineering, to do more things easier in our everyday life, from refrigerators to washing machines.
How convenient.
And the 21st century is definitely the digital age. It's the internet.
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball or, you know, build a house, and all of these things have been turned upside down by software.
The lettuce bot is a robot that can sense its environment. Every single hour, this lettuce bot is seeing 1.5 million plants, and it's taking individual action on those plants. We enable lettuce growers to have higher yields in their field by helping make it cheaper, by helping produce food in a more sustainable way. And that wasn't previously possible without computer science and technology.
I have a really fun job where we build Polyvore, which kind of combines all my favorite things, so programming as well as fashion and art and design and shopping. Half the products you use these days are software products that you play with on maybe your phone. And so if you want to build something cool, you need to know programming, right? And there's so many things that you can do with computer science. So if you just work backwards from the cool thing that you want to build and figure out what that is, a lot of times computer programming is part of that, right? So you should learn the skill.
It's really exciting right now. The technology that we're developing right now is going to be used by your doctor in the next decade. When you come into the office and you're sick, the doctor is going to be like, all right, spit in this cup. And I will put it into this magic machine, which is a sequencer. And in an hour, I can tell you what you have or what's wrong with you. So if we're looking for a new virus, for example, we'll download a database of all the viruses that are known. And we'll search for, our sequence of interest against a whole database of all viruses. So you still need somebody to analyze the data. The computer is not smart enough yet.
Our software helps people save energy and thereby reduce their carbon emissions. To date, we've saved over 8 terawatt hours, which is the equivalent of about 1.1 million cars on the road.
When you're forecasting the wind, there's so many different parameters that go into it. It would be impossible for a human to sit down and do all those calculations. We need a computer model in order to forecast it.
Most people don't think about technology and public safety as going together, but our software is actually changing the way that law enforcement is capturing, transferring, and managing their digital evidence on a daily basis. It turns out that when officers are wearing our cameras, they see a drastic reduction in use of force, as well as a drastic reduction in the amount of complaints being leveraged against their agency, ultimately resulting in safer communities.
The merging of art and technology is getting more and more significant now because computers and software are such an integral part of our lives day to day. People are realizing that it can be quite creative to take this medium of computers and create incredible works of art.
In Finding Nemo, when Crush and Squirt and all the friends are flying through the East Australian Current, you're seeing images of water flowing by, you're seeing the colors on the back of the turtle, you're seeing the sides of the fish. All of those things are generated through math and computer programs that we write that we then give to the artists, and they take that to create that final image and tweak it and make it look beautiful and look fun.
The crux of it is really about invention. It's about looking at the world and being dissatisfied with things and questioning everything.
I always felt like if I didn't learn how to program, it would be like not learning how to read. The future would just be closed to me.
If you're in the coding profession, there's so many things that you can do, and you can pretty much pick and choose the course you want to be in.
I think that you can start something in your college dorm room, and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and build something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
Really, it's about the chance to reinvent things and then see it out there in the world and see people using it and having fun or having a better life because of something that wasn't there before that you put in the world.
Awesome. All right, so
So basically, if you're interested in entrepreneurism, this would be a great way to start a business, is if you were to go into the technology area. And you can start businesses through websites, and you can create mobile applications if you wanted to, whether it's like something like Uber, where you set up like a taxi service, or you can create something like Facebook, or you can create a business that'll help your community in whatever way that you see an opportunity that you could use. So that was basically my whole focus of this presentation is that if I can do it, you can do it. You could do so much more. I mean, there's all different types of areas. I have all these things listed here. I don't have to go through one and name them all out. But I'm sure Casey has some other aspects of business that he wants to touch on too. So I'll hand it off to Casey.
Wonderful. And then what I'm going to do is we'll have some questions at the end, but I want to make sure that Casey gets an opportunity here as well. So we're just going to switch presentations really quickly. There we go. All right, Casey, take it away. Thank you.
Excellent. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Can you hear?
Hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Excellent, excellent. So, Crystal, thank you for the presentation. That's one area where, in terms of coding, that really stresses me out. I have a hard time getting into my email because I forget my password. So, you know, my name's Casey Lozar, and I'm from Flathead. I'm enrolled at Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes. I live in Helena, but my hometown is this picture. Do you guys know where this is?
Is it Pablo?
Polson, exactly. So I grew up just on the far left side, that little point that comes out. And I grew up probably in fairly typical for someone from the reservation. I grew up in a HUD house. I grew up on the WIC program and commodities. We could make anything you can imagine out of commodity. I grew up in poverty. When I was growing up, I think my dad made $7,000 for 7 of us in our family. So we were ruggedly poor growing up. We were paycheck to paycheck. We had big celebrations on per cap day. We drove around tons of res cars. I think at one point we had 11 cars in our yard. We called it a yard. But I was really into sports. I played every sport that you could imagine. High school as basketball, football, and golf. That was a huge part of my life growing up. And I always had little jobs. So I had I mowed lawns. I folded T-shirts. I sold T-shirts. My family had this small T-shirt business. And probably like a lot of you, it came from a really, really big family. So we would have someone's birthday party at my grandparents' house, and 60 people would show up. And so that was a really central part of growing up in Polson, growing up on res. And what I learned, within the confines of this photo that you see, is few characteristics that has driven me my whole life. So I learned to be ambitious. I certainly learned how to be persistent. Growing up with very little, you kind of have to figure out how to make things work, and be positive and trying to figure out how to make things work. I learned to be very curious. So I would get in a truck and drive up in the logging roads for hours and hours and hours, and taking new roads and trying to figure out where things would go, and new subjects in school I would really dive into and try to learn as much as I could. And then I created this sense of vision. Actually, can you guys see the screen?
Would you like us to be on the next slide there?
Oh, not yet.
Okay, sorry.
So So he created this vision. This was a big thing in my family. My father was on tribal council. My mother was a teacher, and my grandfather was the head tribal judge, and everything that all my uncles and aunties and everyone did was about empowering the community and doing good things for the community. So these four things, these four values, ambition, persistence, curiosity, and vision, really helped me the day that I left the reservation. So you can go to the next slide. So about 18 years ago, I left Polson, and I was told that no matter what, education is one thing that can't be taken away from you. You earn it. It is yours the rest of your life. And so I committed myself to getting educated in higher ed. And this photo here is a photo of all the colleges that I studied at. So I went to Dartmouth undergrad. I went to Harvard for grad school. I did a little time at University of California, San Diego. I got an MBA at University of Colorado in Denver, and I studied at Oxford and did some training at Columbia and at MIT. And that was one thing that I knew that I needed to do, that I could sort of control, was setting a vision for my education and seeing how far I could go. And it has been probably one of the most important things in my life, other than my family, is what education has allowed me to do, has allowed me to see new perspectives and meet new people and live in new areas. And that would be one thing that I would say to you all, is you can go from your communities to wherever you want. It's really up to you. You've got the keys, and you can drive wherever you want to go. In my schooling, I was a history major, and then I have a degree in education, and then a degree in business. So I tried to sort of span a number of different subjects to be able to make connections between our world, between our past, between our young people within the school system and business. And these things are really interconnected as you get out into the world. You can go to the next slide. In terms of getting out in the world, I saw traveling, in addition to education, as one of the most important things that will make you well-rounded. And like I said, growing up on Flathead, I have been on nearly every single road on Flathead. I've just been curious about where roads go and who's at the end of the road and the people's stories there. And I took that in my life to the rest of the world. So I've had the opportunity to travel to all 50 states. I've been to almost 30 countries. I've done Western Europe and most of Eastern Europe. I lived in South America. I lived in the middle of the ocean in the Marshall Islands. And this was all driven by those four sort of characteristics, the ambition, persistence, curiosity, and vision. As I was going to each of these places, both for fun and for work, I was learning, and I was taking in as much as I could, while still being grounded in that very first slide, still being grounded in all the things that my family and my community back in Polson and back in Flathead provided to me. And it's given me a number of different opportunities to work all over the country, really. If you want to go to the next slide, I've had this vision of always having an impact in the community, to empower the community to do work that's beyond myself. And so I worked for SKC I was a culture and math and science counselor for our tribal youth program. I worked in the Republic and the Marshall Islands with a Native community there. I worked in inner city Boston where I taught. I worked in a highly affluent community in Colorado. I spent about 7 years with the American Indian College Fund working with all the different tribal colleges throughout the country. I worked with, many of you might know Noda Begay. Noda's the famous PGA Tour golfer. I worked with Noda for a little while, and got a chance to meet all these big golfers and Tiger Woods and some of Noda's friends. And then a couple years ago, I actually had my third kid, and I wanted to bring my family back to Montana. And my grandparents are 90 and 91, and I wanted them to be able to experience the rest of my family. And so we moved back to Montana, and I joined the Montana Department of Commerce, which is really focused on economic development. And that was one area I really wanted to shift from the education side into working with communities on empowering individuals through economic development or small business development. And so my major focus was on supporting entrepreneurs. So I think all of us, I'm sure every one of you, have had an idea at some point of a business that you wanted to start. And I'm curious right now if some folks could share some crazy ideas that you've had for a business that you've wanted to start.
Browning, you're unmuted, so you guys can go ahead and speak.
Your business you want to start.
I know a few people are from the medical field. I mean, have you had any ideas of starting things within the medical field?
Well, maybe like.
No. How about the? Did I hear someone was maybe it was Jason? Were you looking at video games?
No, that's my game.
Oh, okay. Have you thought about starting your own video game?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but not really. That's kind of why I'm here. So figure out how to do that.
Yeah, in order to start a video game, you got to know about business. That's critical to be able to make a sustainable game, make money, and drive consumers to your game. I don't know about folks in Box Elder if they've had some ideas about any businesses they've wanted to start. I know there's a little lag, so we'll just toss that out there, and if folks from Box Elder can share, that would be great. So I think we've all had in some capacity, some ideas around business, but doing business in Indian country and starting small businesses in Indian country is pretty unique. The economic development world in Indian country is unique, and I want to ask the question: what are some things that you think makes economic development or starting small businesses in Indian country unique? Any ideas?
So while you think about that, Box Elder has had some thoughts of ice cream trucks, pizza, coffee shops, clothing, and shoe boutiques.
Excellent. Box Elder, those are some good examples. Browning, don't let Box Elder upstage you here.
Yeah. Well, we were just saying we could capitalize on our tourists a little bit better in this area for sure.
Without a doubt, and that is a key area within economic development in Indian country. So what makes... Can you go back to the slide? So what, a few things that... Yeah, that one. A few things that make economic development really unique in Montana and in our Indian communities is our tribal economies have this very disproportionate sectors, in the sense that, and you guys all know this, my whole family essentially comes from the public sector. I either worked for the BIA, the tribal government, or the local school district. Those are all from the public sector. In most of Montana, our private sector, which is the small businesses, are a really small slice of the pie. And innovation happens, for the most part, innovation really happens within our small businesses. So that's something that we're sort of trying to tackle by assisting entrepreneurs. Another thing that makes economic development different in Indian country is a lot of our Indian businesses and Indian entrepreneurs are starting businesses not for the cash, but to support themselves and their families. So that's very different than if you go to New York City, or you go to Denver, or even if you go to Missoula or Billings. It's a little different. In our tribal communities, there's this double bottom line where you're creating a service and helping yourself, but you're helping your families. And the other thing that makes Indian country economic development different is access to capital. Does anyone know what I mean by access to capital?
So, Casey, Rocky Boy does, so Box Elder does. They actually, in the comments, they just said it's very difficult to start business because it's hard to get a starting capital for that business. And one of the things that they have said in the chat bar is that the residents of the Rocky Boy have gotten used to driving over to Harbor and the Great Falls to do all of their shopping. So to put that in there as well.
Excellent. Well, that's one of the biggest obstacles in Montana for our Indian entrepreneurs, is being able to get capital. Capital essentially is cash. How do you get cash to start your business, to grow your business, to expand your business? And there's a few different ways you can do it. If you go to the next slide, I recommend you don't do it this way. So we're very familiar with getting grants. You can always get grants to start businesses, but grants aren't really sustainable. You get a grant once, and usually a smaller grant for a small business, and oftentimes you don't get another grant. The other way you get capital is family and friends. So if your paycheck to paycheck, is really hard to go business by borrowing money from your family and friends. So the typical way is to work with banks. So this is the big challenge. So in Montana, or nationally, I should say, tribal members are 70% of tribal members are unbanked or underbanked. I mean, kind of think about your communities. How many banks do you have in your communities? Very, very few, if any. I don't think there's any banks in Rocky Boy. If you don't have a bank, it's hard to save cash. If you don't have a bank, it's hard to get a loan. And if you're in a position, you have a great idea and you want to get a business loan, one of the challenges in Indian country is the banks, in order to give you financing, they ask generally for three things. One, a good idea. But the other two are really challenging in Indian country. If you go to the next slide. Banks ask for to leverage land and to leverage your equity in your home. So if you're like me and you're living on tribal trust land, that land can't be leveraged with a loan. So essentially, if you get a loan and you're not able to pay for it, the bank would typically go in and take land. But if your land's held in trust, that's really challenging. So a lot of banks don't provide loans because of that. And then home equity. So when you get a loan for your house and you're paying it back, you've got essentially savings in your home. But if your home is on tribal land, it's really hard for a bank to come in if you default to take your home. So a lot of banks really don't provide capital in any country, and that's been one of the biggest things that we've done here at the Department of Commerce at the state, is to help our Indian entrepreneurs access capital, because it really is the driver for growing businesses and to really tackle that disproportion between the public sector jobs and the private sector jobs in our tribal economies. So we've started some programs, which you should write this down. We've got something called an Indian Equity Fund, and you can get grants from $7,000 to $14,000 for a business that you have plans for. We've had businesses, a lot of businesses that have these kind of micro businesses that go to powwows. Maybe you're selling shirts, maybe you're doing fry bread, or those types of things. You can get loans or you can get grants for those types of things to help get your business started. And we've also worked with nearly all of the banks in the state who aren't in a position to provide loans to Indian entrepreneurs. If you go to get a loan and you're living on trust land, or if you don't own your home, so you don't have enough collateral, the state of Montana will put money into the loan so that the bank will provide you some capital, and that essentially brings money into our tribal communities and provides us with the capital to be able to grow. So we're not just focused on jobs within tribal government or the county or with the BIA, but we're starting our own jobs. We're creating our own goods and services. Or in the case of the comments from Rocky Boy, that we're creating businesses where you don't have to travel to Havre for for a good or a service that isn't available. You're creating those in your communities, so you can keep your communities closer together and let the money really flow around to help everybody. So we've got a whole bunch of different programs that we manage here at the Montana Department of Commerce, and we've got a website. It's called onad.mt.gov, and you can learn about all the different funding opportunities we provide. And we also have something called Native American Business Advisors. In each of our tribal communities in the state, we've got advisors in the community. If you have an idea, an interest in starting a business, or you've got a business started, these advisors can sit down with you and help you build out your plans for the business that will set you up to be able to launch and grow a thriving business. And in the end, I mean, there's a lot of things that are critically important for the health of our communities, but building that private sector is one of the things that will allow us to depend less on the jobs that are provided through tribal government, and just depend less on government in general. It gives us a little more ability to be empowered and set forth what our future to control what our future will look like. So, in order to do that, I think it kind of comes back to those four things that I mentioned, at the beginning of the presentation. It takes ambition, the ability to be persistent, to have an ongoing curiosity, and to have a vision that's built on your community, so that you can find ways to not only help yourself and help your family, but grow your communities. So I'm sure Crystal and I would be open for any questions that you guys might have about our backgrounds or about the work that we've been doing over the course of our lives.
Do you want to come back on the screen too, Crystal? Great. All right.
I also wanted to mention that ABLE helps with your business plan. If you do have a plan for a business, ABLE does do that, and we do have like a competition round. Box Elder, their ABLE group came with a I think it was a or like a, remember if they can chat and remind me, but they had a really awesome plan.
Yes, the school store.
Yes, the school store. That's right. Yeah, they had an awesome plan, and they had an awesome idea for their own school and their own community, and it also helped them fundraise for them to get there to their conference. And they brought a pretty big group of them to attend the conference. So I just want to extend that to you. Also to Browning High School, if you guys are interested, if you wanted to create your own plan for a tourism business, that would be something you could start a chapter and then work on something, and I'm sure Casey, their office, can help you along with that. So.
What are challenges that you have faced while being in this field?
Is that for me or Crystal, or both?
Both.
I'll go first. The challenges that I had was that you come from a tribal college and into a university system. I think that was the biggest challenge, is because the tribal college, they're a little bit more lenient and they're a little bit more laid back, whereas the university, they're a little more demanding, and they really challenge you and push you. So a lot of students that come from the tribal colleges, they get discouraged really easy, and sometimes they don't make it, or they become homesick, or whatever their reasons are, But it all comes from you, where you want to persevere, what's your ambitions, where you want to be in the next 5 years, where you see yourself in 10 years, and it's kind of more, it's up to you what you want to do. So I didn't want to be a secretary for the rest of my life. So that's why I was like, I have to go back to school and work on a profession that I know will provide for me, not just me, but for my family, and also make a difference for our Native communities. So.
And then for me, in terms of working in the economic development field in Indian country, is essentially bringing awareness about all the opportunities that are out there. There's, I know for me, growing up on Flathead, I rarely left, and so your world is only as big as where you're at, and so I didn't know what all these opportunities are out there. And as I'm working with all the different eight tribal nations in the state, a lot of people just don't know about all the training that's there for you, all the assistance that the state or ABLE or your individual tribal governments can provide on starting businesses, all the capital, all the money that's out there to be able to do this. And Indian country is really, really unique for Montana. A lot of states don't have the opportunities that we provide in Montana. So that's the hardest thing, is to sort of bring awareness to what's possible. And maybe one other thing is economic development in any country is pretty complex. I mean, we've got challenges with good access to the internet, to broadband in our homes. We've got challenges with the ebbs and flows of tribal governments, and one of the key things is challenges with tribal land and where you can have businesses and who owns land and that type of thing. It makes it pretty challenging for the entrepreneur to go through training to figure out where they want their store, or if they want to do commerce over the internet, their business over the internet, how to get high-speed internet. Those types of things that are all structural are fairly challenging. So, but not things that can't be overcome.
Excellent. Any other questions, Browning or Box Elder?
I've got a
Box
question.
center's done. You're good.
My question is for Casey. We have a question for Casey.
Sure.
So, how did you pay for your educational journey?
How did I what?
How did you pay for your educational journey?
Well, my parents helped out by buying my very first flight to go to college. That was it. They pretty much paid me to leave. No, I did it through scholarships, through fellowships, and to be very honest, with significant student debt. And I wish no student takes on debt. I really wish that was the case. But my mindset has always been that money is just a thing, and you can't take education, you can't take your experiences, you can't take your profession away from you, and that's all yours. Money is just something we deal with, and so I've figured out a way to go into a lot of debt, but I've sort of figured out how to work that into my life. So I want to say maybe $60,000 is what I went into debt, which is a whole lot of money. But I think my schooling was probably $500,000. So I got out of it fairly cheap. But I'm paying it all back, and I've just figured out a way to make it work. And I would highly encourage all of you to, one, when you go to college, to look at all the scholarship opportunities that are out there, but don't be afraid to take on debt.
I feel like there's a lot of help for students once they get to U of M to keep working their way through the scholarship and grants and fellowship process. We help them get there, but sometimes I wonder if they get a lot of support once they're there. And where can they go for that support?
They do get a lot of support from the American Indian Student Services. They have a mentorship program there, but it's up to the student for them to utilize that program, because we had an active mentorship program where we had a lot of students that signed up and said they were interested, but when it came down to it, a lot of them didn't utilize it. So there is a lot of support and a lot of different programs that are out for students who are new to the university system. They could go and visit now if they wanted to, and you could get campus tours, but they have programs like TRIO that'll give you book loans where you it's like on a first come first served basis where you don't have to pay for books. Books are very expensive. Within the university system, they do get the Indian tuition waiver, but that's only a small portion of the fees that you're actually going to be paying. So you have to keep that in mind. And your financial aid does run out. Your Pell Grant does run out. Mine ran out last semester. So I lucked out this, or not last semester, but last academic year. But this year I'm solely scholarship based. I was able to keep my GPA up and acquire 5 different scholarships to pay for all the fees, because basically you're paying a fee for everything. Every building that you're taking classes out of, you're paying a fee. You're paying a fee to eat in the UC. You're paying a fee to use the computers. You're paying a fee to use the Loma Center. There's all kinds of fees, so you have to keep that in mind. And sometimes, like Casey was saying, you do have to take on debt. And I ended up having to take on debt too. But as far as programs, there's TRIO, there's the diversity programs there at the UC, there's ASUM, there's all kinds of different helpful programs there on the university. It's just up to the student to utilize them, because a lot of them don't. They wait until they're in their second semester and they're already on academic probation or something like that, you know. They have the writing center located right in the library, and they're there until 10 o'clock in the evening. The library stays open till 2 a.m. So it's up to the student, and you know, the help is there, but we can't hold their hand through the process.
And I'll just add one other thing, that another role that I have is I was just recently appointed to the Montana Board of Regents, which is, there's 7 regents that oversee all the university system. And one of the conversations that we've been having is innovative ways to supplement and add to what Crystal just mentioned, some of the services that are available for student support for our Native students. And so we'll continue to look at ways to expand on what's working and other areas, so that when you get to campus and you've figured out your financial aid and using Pell Grants and that type of thing, that you're in a campus culture where you feel really comfortable and inspired to take classes and to be successful.